So I say this or ask it with no negative connotations because it's the world in which we live in and it's part of the system now. How much do you believe that NIL had to do with the success of the last 9 months that culminated in today's ranking?
I'm not going to be naive and think that the answer is 0 because it's not. I'm also not going to be stupid and think that the answer is 100 because it's not. And I know that it's not because our head coach is a 2-time National Recruiter of the Year and built consistent top 5 classes when he was at Oregon. So the proof is in the pudding, is what I'm saying. Jaleel Adai has been a good recruiter. Kevin Smith has been a good recruiter. Joe Salavea has been a good recruiter. Alex Mirabal has been a good recruiter. Like Charlie Strong has been an ace recruiter. He was like one of the ace recruiters on Urban Meyer's staff when he was defensive coordinator in Florida years ago. So like we have dudes all over this, program, all involved on and off the field. That didn't even get to Mike Rumpf, who's an incredible recruiter in his off the field role. I don't know why he couldn't do it when he was cornerbacks coach, but in the role that he is, assistant director of recruiting, money. DeMarcus Van Dyke, buddy. You talk about a guy who is a recruiter in capital letters, that's DeMarcus Van Dyke. So I say all that to say, when you have all those guys put together, you're going to have recruiting success, period. Is that aided by NIL? Absolutely. Sure. I mean, there's been times that Miami's lost out on recruits in the past because we just didn't have the bag man in the same way that other teams did. And I say that again because I've either seen it, like literally one time I saw somebody drop up a bag, or I've heard of it from people that I would, trust and believe. So is it helpful? Absolutely. 100%. To what degree? I would say that, maybe if there was a question, it can change a question mark into a period or an exclamation point. That player is debating teams and he says, Miami. And the NIL puts that from Miami to Miami. You know what I mean? But it's not like, all of a sudden drawing Martians in from outer space and being like, oh, Miami has NIL. And I wasn't even thinking about going to Miami. I was thinking about going to, whatever other galaxy, but I'm going to stop here and all of a sudden I'm going to get, you know what I mean? It's not that kind of attractiveness or, or functional utility. But yeah, I mean, the importance is more than a little bit. And Miami obviously has a very strong NIL setup. And yeah, I think it alleviates some of the questions and it clarifies some of the issues. And I mean, I think it is as impactful at Miami as it is for Tennessee or USC or any of these other teams that are also seeing improved and increased success with their recruiting in the age of NIL. I think it's as impactful as it is for those teams as well. But I don't think that it is unique or specific to Miami in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Now, of course, NIL is going to continue to be a dynamic that is going to ebb and flow for particular schools. Some may have jumped the gun in a positive way, got ahead of the curve, but they're going to lag in the future and not do as well. And others will have started slowly and figured things out and then ramped up and do. It's just like the ability of the players on the field and the coaches and everything. Programs are going to handle it well consistently or not handle it consistently, but there are going to be upgrades and downgrades. The reason I bring that up is that if you look at the recruiting rankings, I am not seeing anything that is shocking or potentially disturbing in any way to say, oh, suddenly Michigan can't recruit and they plummeted to 62nd. So they must not be handling NIL. They must be completely out of the game. Or Boston College has come out of nowhere to be a top 5 recruiting class. Where did that come from?
Right.
Everything seems to be
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly chalk, but I mean, I know that people at the, who have been at the top of the sport, I know that they're pointing at Miami and saying, wait, their high has been, 5 or 8 all of a sudden, but now they're at 3, and things like that. And I mean, the margins are smaller, but yeah, it's not completely like, yeah, a team that builds completely in a developmental way. like a K-State. You know, they're probably in the 70s or 80s normally. You know what I mean? Like, but
Sure. Yeah.
but they have they have an older team because they get 4 and 5 year guys, and they need to develop guys because they're not going to get superstars out there, right? But they're not all of a sudden up in the top 5.